At the time of filming this video, I am 41 years old, and if I could go back and talk to my 20-year-old self to give advice on how to play jazz a lot faster, this is exactly what I would say. Welcome to Jazz Guitar Lessons, where we help guitarists learn jazz faster, express themselves more fluently, and have fun along the way. My name is Mark, and if you're looking to learn jazz, form better practice habits, and especially if you enjoy a French accent, make sure to subscribe. So personally, you guys may not know this, but I'm more introverted. I don't necessarily like to go out and meet a lot of people, and it does drain my battery very fast. So you can only imagine to go into a crowded jazz club, it will also drain my battery. However, I'll tell you this, I'll tell young Mark this, go out to the gig, even if it's just for one set for 45 minutes, because live jazz has a magical component, which is improvised music. What happens on that night will not happen again, ever. And there's magic in interaction and interplay, and there's magic in whatever can happen. Surprises can happen, and this can be very inspiring. All right, this is for younger Mark. This is for 20-year-old Mark. You got your practice list, you got your practice routine, yes. You got all these 13 items that you want to check off as you go. Yeah, don't do that. You're not going to practice 13 items. Although you may practice 13 different things today, but you're not going to be able to keep it up. So it's better and way more efficient, and proof is in the pudding, really, for me, to have a shorter practice session, shorter list of things, and to consistently come back at it. And to be very deliberate, going like, nope, I don't have time for this now, it's going to be my next thing. But right now I'm doing these few things really well and consistently, and then results can come up. It's like a volcano. I tried later in my life to keep my practice sessions short and focused, almost like a workout. I can't do 50 push-ups now, if you give me enough time, but I can't do 50 push-ups again at noon, and then another 50 push-ups at 5 p.m., another 50 push-ups at 7 p.m. That's not going to work out. So do the work out intensively, go back to bed, the neurons will connect, everything will be better tomorrow, and that's the best way to go. It's just, ultimately, it's patience and being very consistent with practice. All right, that's also for younger Mark. You can't multitask a practice session. Here's what I mean, is there's a cost in task switching. If I'm practicing or if I'm doing anything else, often journaling, and I have my son come and distract me, I find that the time I miss, say, from my journal is not just the time that I was distracted by my son, but it's the ramping out time and then the ramping up time. These may be longer than the actual time lost. So if I'm trying to multitask something, it means I will jump from one task to the next. So I find for myself, it's better to do mini sprints even with a timer. I will use a kitchen timer and practice for a total of 7 minutes completely focused. While the 7 minutes goes, I don't have to look at the clock. I don't have to think how much longer do I have left? What am I doing with this? There's no thought involved, because that whole thinking process, it costs a lot of time for me to ramp in and out. So I would do the scales and whatever, 7 minutes. And then there's a chord thing I'm working on, 12 minutes, and then 5 minutes of this. So the timer also has a feature of helping me stop. If I don't stop myself, I may invest too much energy, like an hour or more, into a single topic, and then I have no time left for the rest of the stuff. So again, this tails to the previous lesson, which is there's lots to be said about being really focused for short amount of time, short bursts, and doing it over the long haul to get amazing results. All right, when I was about 22 years old, I was playing a lot of drop two inversions on my top strings. You guys have been around the block, you know the books, you know the Barry Harris stuff, yeah, that. So I would systematically play in high registers, full chords, and every time there'd be a chord on the song at a jam, I'd play like 3 or 4 pivots of inversions of the same chord, but I would always play like that. Not to say that it was wrong. If someone would listen to me harmonically and go, yeah, you're playing the D minor chord in 3 inversions, it's correct, but sounds bad. So the lesson here is like, it's best to have like a handful of voicings, like 3, 4, or 5 voicings, and play them with good taste and good timing to really complement what's happening, rather than trying to show off. So I think I was, as a kid, in poor taste. And I developed in that area until I found out that I did not to play every single voicing I knew in every song, right? So that's a big takeaway, just to use parsimony in the comping with the amount of voicings, because a C major is a C major is a C major. No one in the audience or your bandmates will know if you did 3 inversions of your C major or just a 1 inversion. So long as it sounds good and it's in good time, it's going to work out in the end. I wound up going to the music store. Maybe I'm 20, 22 years old, and I think I dodged a bullet because I was about to get a Godin. You guys know my Godin. And it was a MIDI plugin in which you had the pedal, so you could plug it in and have flute sounds and synthesizers and stuff. And I was really fond of the organ sound. Like, oh my God, I could go to gigs and play with that organ sound and call for my friends. Gonna sound like an organ. OMG. Assume it wasn't about the money. Like, assume I could afford it. And I dodged a bullet in that I think I toyed with knobs in the store for about an hour and a half. And then I stood up, shook it off out of myself. I'm like, no. And I went home and I never touched that thing again. Maybe I will in the future. But the point here is, that gear would not have made me sound better. The sound is in my head. You know, that's the biggie. So whenever I found myself, I think I caught up to that lesson relatively fast, although I splurge on gear and pedals and amps and whatnot. When I find myself turning knobs too much, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not making music. And I love making music. Do I love tweaking knobs? I mean, if you're a studio guy, whatever, I totally understand that. That's your thing, like mixing and mastering, recording. I'm not into that. I'm into like playing. The big lesson for a younger Mark here would be, don't assume that the gear is going to change how you sound drastically, because you still sound like yourself, whatever instrument or piece of gear you pick up. So I have a saxophone friend, tenor sax, who shall remain nameless because he may be watching this, but there's a time where this kid, maybe 5 years younger than me, we played together, and I would often ask him to play a certain tune and say, I don't know it, right? So I would like, do you know it? And then eventually my rule of thumb here is like, if you get asked 3 times, shame on you. Like, you go out to a local jam after weeks and months, and then you get asked the same tune systematically and you say no systematically. Myself, I would give in. They love to play that tune. They love Wind Shorter stuff or whatever. They love Alone Came Betty. I don't know if you know that song. It's like, learn it so at least you can collaborate. It's a community thing, right? So my friend, I'm going to keep this lesson short, but that's sort of the 3 strikes rule, shame on you type of thing, then I'm never going to ask you again. But my friend and I, the sax player, we played a gig with a bass player, and he criticized the bass player, which was way more advanced than us. And I just told him, dude, learn Stella by Starlight. Like, you can't criticize this guy who's got 20 years of experience on the jazz scene, and you can't play Stella by Starlight, and I've been asking you every week for the past 2 years, right? So that's the takeaway. Learning the tunes is really important. It's at the center of my approach. You can see this, jazzcarlsons.net/pathway, where I explain how do we take the tunes to make them the central piece of our learning, but also the fact that it's good just to immerse myself in a community to learn the tunes that these guys love playing. It may be different in local jams. In local areas, some people may love the song Beautiful Love, while in other places, in other states, it may be like around midnight that gets called off. And it doesn't really matter because a song is a song. But yeah, learning the tunes is a great tip.